Alpen. I'm Kent Marts, who works for Alpen Breast and Explorer Scientific as a customer service rep. This is my coworker, Mark Skrocki.
Ken, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Been sitting here trying to figure out how to get stuff live, and we are going to have some technical difficulties. You know, live TV and live broadcast is ripe for errors and mistakes, and we couldn't get Rick White up. He was here, and connection went down. We could not reestablish, so we're just going to go on and do the show without Rick. And Rick, if you're watching, you know, technical difficulties, we'll work it out. So apologize for that. We're going to have John Dallas, a field staffer from Charleston, Indiana, on with us to discuss some hunting stuff. But that's off the table too. So Mark, why don't you talk to us about what we are going to talk about on the show now that our scripts are shot to pieces?
Yeah, I think it's not a difficulty. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. It's opportunity.
It's an opportunity. That's what they tell us in sales. Anyway, I wanted to talk about what we were going to cover this evening. We're going to cover at least a portion of this. So everybody sit tight with us while we get through our opportunity here. But tonight, I've got my son here, my son Chris. We're really excited to have him on the second Alpen on the Hunt cast. And he's going to talk about a recent experience that he had. Chris has been doing a little bit of sandhill crane hunting over the last 3 years, and recently went to Oklahoma, and they did a pretty good job on the birds over there. But we asked him to come on today and talk a little bit about tactics. The dog, Willie the crane dog, is a really interesting creature that you may see in a photo if we can get our opportunity to come to fruition here.
Yeah, I've got all sorts of questions about that. When you see the picture, everybody, you're going to have the same questions I had.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to give it away yet, but when the dog comes up, you're going to go, huh?
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. What's he doing?
So anyway, we'll see what Willie's up to. Chris is going to cook some crane too, and it's on the grill on the back of his pickup truck right now. So we're going to experience that. We got a little bit of crane jerky, so he's going to talk about that. Talk about his secret crane recipe here tonight, I guess. I don't know, but this stuff's delicious. Hopefully some of you that are watching have eaten crane before, and it's really, really good. After that,
you told me it was beef of the steak of the sky.
Well,
it's supposed to be.
I've heard it called ribeye of the sky.
Ribeye of the sky. There we go.
Yeah,
that's the phrase.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
We're going to test it out on you tonight, Ken.
I'll eat willingly.
Okay. All right. Good.
And the cameraman's been directed that if something happens, to get it good on video, so I become internet famous.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, Tyler on the camera gets to eat it.
That's right. If I don't like it, Tyler gets to eat it.
Anyway, we're going to attempt to talk to Rick and John up in Indiana. They have been hunting the last several days up there, and we want to hear the recent reports. Hopefully we've got good news from Indiana tonight. And they've been shooting the muzzleloader guns, I think.
And John was going to be talking about his beagles.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
John is, I don't know how many dogs he's running with the rabbit hunting up there, but we're pretty interested to hear about that. Last thing we're going to talk about is some trail cam usage that Rick was going to cover. You know, we wanted to hear what they're doing in different phases of seasons and how the application may be different early in the season compared to what they're trying to do now with trail cams, and how they're tracking these deer on the property. So Rick's going to tell us about that a little bit. Again, if we maximize our opportunity this evening and get to speak with Rick White. Last thing we'll cover, as always on this show, is an Alpen Optics special. We're going to talk about a trail cam special that you guys can take advantage of for having seen the podcast. But that's about it for the topics that we're going to cover.
So, Paul, are we going to cut away? Or are we just going to?
No, yeah, just keep trucking. I'll get
Okay. So
I'm going to switch mics with Chris here and let him come up.
Put me on the camera right now.
Let's see if we can hear Mr. Rick White.
Is he there? I don't think he's there.
Yeah, I guess you want to just go grab the.
So, what we got?
Sure. So you're live on that. You're sure.
So anyway,
He's on. Look at your screen, Ken.
My screen's blank, Paul. So anyway, my son's been doing a lot of deer hunting the last couple of weeks, and he got on video twice now a close encounter with Pepe Le Pew. He was walking up to his truck in the dark after hunting, and saw something move and stopped about 3 feet away from a beautiful skunk that came out from under his truck. And luckily it wasn't facing backwards and bopping up and down with his tail in the air. And Jeff said he was somewhat excited by that and slowly backed up. And he got video of a picture of it. And a couple of days before, he had a picture of I believe the same skunk was walked up to his blind and rubbed on the blind as he was hunting. So, you know, those things that happen when you're out in the woods or can be unplanned and unscripted, just like this TV show has gone right now. So, Chris, you want to come on in? Boy, it smells good. So,
Sure.
This is Chris Skrocki. He's Mark's son. Hey, nice to meet you. Oh,
Hey.
COVID, darn it.
Yeah, I know
This
already.
boy, we've already broken protocol.
We'll just
So,
consider those dirty
so
until we.
Are we ready to eat now? You want to talk? Is this hot now and let's eat?
It's hot now. It looks like it's going to stay hot for a little while. I got a little bit of sandhill crane info. If we want to start with that, and
As
then
long as it stays hot, I don't want to eat it cold. So.
it's that cast iron skillet
Okay, all
should
right.
hold the heat
Okay, good deal.
for a while.
So talk about crane. How did you get into crane hunting?
I got into crane hunting because I have a really good buddy who gets me into all sorts of hunting, and I will love him forever for that. We've been on all sorts of crazy hunts, went to South Africa together, done some really cool stuff. But buddy Jared's he's really got a lot of friends within the Ducks Unlimited community out in Oklahoma. So I've been on 2 sandhill crane hunts this year. One successful, one not so successful.
Both in Oklahoma?
One was in Oklahoma, the one that wasn't so hot. And that was kind of us trying to do our thing, and decoys are important, and we'll talk about sandhill crane decoys and how important they are. The one which was where we had a lot of success and where we've had a lot of success was actually in Lubbock, Texas.
Okay.
And so Jared's got a good buddy through the DU community, a guy named Brian, who is a professional guide. And so he guides out there in Lubbock, and I've actually got his info. I'm glad to pass that out if people are interested in that. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it. But, I had, never heard of these birds before, because depending on what part of the country you're in, you if you're not within that flyway. Yeah, exactly. The flyway is a very, very specific part of the country, and there are migratory birds and non-migratory birds. You got non-migratory populations in places like Florida, and I think like Louisiana, there's non-migratory populations there.
Like a lot of us have non-migratory Canada geese.
Yeah.
There are places with non-migratory sandhill cranes.
Exactly.
Did not know that.
Exactly.
So probably the same thing. Somebody took eggs, they hatched in Florida or wherever, and they think that's home, so they never leave.
They may just be retired cranes. I don't know.
Retired
They're just
cranes. Snowbirds.
That's it. Yeah, that could be. I am an amateur crane hunter. I know something about them. I have some facts I think are kind of interesting about them. So
jump in. Let's hear what you have.
Sure. So it is actually one of the oldest birds that we're aware of. It's an ancient North American species. They go back at least 2.5 million years. So it's basically unchanged for like the last 2.5 million years. We've actually got a treaty with Russia, among other countries, to manage the species, to manage the resource, because they're such a great migrators. There are birds that will make their way all the way down to the Gulf Coast that originate in Siberia for the season.
They fly probably around Alaska, over Alaska, across the ocean, one or the other.
Yeah, Alaska, Canada, probably just looking for water. They roost in water, standing up. So that kind of protects them from predators that can kind of keep things from sneaking up on them that way. So that's what they're looking for, and they're looking for food. And they, they're typically, they've got gray feathers. You will see some which are rust colored, and that's it's a staining. So the birds preen with iron-rich soil. So you can actually kind of get a sense of where some of the birds may have been based on some of that coloration or around what type of resources as well.
So is this blind hunting? Are you in ground blinds like you're hunting Kennedy or snow geese or geese? Landing, right?
Yeah. So we've done it in layout blinds, and in 1 year we did it in a box blind, swing blind, which was kind of a lot of fun, where you're actually sitting up, and it's that's a little bit more social, because you can have like half a dozen guys in like a single long blind, swing blind,
And just like you and I are right next to each other in a blind. If you've never been in a blind, it's a box down in the ground. And, sometimes they're half full of water and, all sorts of fun things in there.
Smells of your friends.
Smells that don't go away.
That's right.
As opposed to laying on the ground where you're in a blind and you've got a friend right next to you. In fact, I've seen a video, y'all handing shells back and forth. And that's a very common thing. It's like, hey, give me some shells.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You do go through some shells. It's a limit of 3 birds per person per day. And it's fun. It's pretty active. You'll have volleys of these birds coming in. And so we've been in the layout blinds the last couple of years. You're there. You've got the guide is keeping an eye out. Everybody else is very, very focused on making sure everything is covered. Don't even look at the birds. This is what the guide will say. Don't look. Right. They're going to see your face. They have got amazing eyesight, right? And so typically you've got your decoy set up. You got your back to the wind. The birds land into the wind, right? So you're trying to anticipate which way the wind's going to be blowing, and that's fairly predictable out in West Texas.
So, like snow geese, I mean, I've hunted over 4,000 or 5,000 decoy spread of snow geese. Mm-hmm. Are you putting out that kind of numbers for sandhills, or is it a much smaller spread?
We would typically we would typically put out about 100 or so 3D high quality decoys.
And these are these full size deeks?
They are.
So yeah. I mean, they're big.
They're big.
They make goose decoys look sort of small.
They're big, yeah. So it's typically one guy staking and another guy following up with decoys and setting them up. And this has all got to take place, well before sunrise, so you can get all set up.
Right. Are you allowed to use electronic calls?
I don't believe so.
So you haven't anyway.
Yeah. So our guide, and it was kind of interesting. Our guide was saying that he was, I think, one of the first guides to actually start using the call out there hunting them in Texas. And for the longest time, a lot of outfits weren't. And I think I've got, I don't know if there's a sound of that.
They make a real sort of a whistling sound, don't they?
They've got a few different sounds depending on what's going on, if they're trying to pair up or if everything's cool, or there's also the juvie is kind of like that whistling sound. Okay. Yeah, but a lot of times it's almost like a purring sort of. It's hard to describe, and I'm not going to give the decoy manufacturers a run for their money by even attempting to make that sound. Right.
Okay, so let's talk about the dog that you've hunted with, and if we can get that picture up. Is it up? When the picture comes up, there it is.
There he is.
All right, so let's talk about that a second.
There's Willie.
It's really grainy on the screen. There it goes. It pops in. So what's that on his face there, Chris?
Those are goggles. These are large birds. They've got up to like a 6-7 foot wingspan or something like that.
Really long legs.
Yeah, long legs,
long
and
neck,
long beaks
and
attached.
Long beaks.
Yeah.
And so those are to protect the dog's eyes.
That is correct. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I mean,
so the question I have was, I saw that picture, and having trained labs, I'm thinking, how do you train a dog to wear goggles? and to not, how does that work? You probably don't know, but I'm just fascinated by that ability to train a dog to wear goggles.
Yeah, like it was impressive. I don't know. It's a good question for Brian. I'm sure there's some sort of step-by-step conditioning program or something. But
I would suspect you start as soon as they're a puppy, and you put them on them, and they just learn that fun things happen when those goggles get on, just like teaching the lab to retrieve.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Birdie. Yeah, or hey, there's a report from a shotgun or a rifle. Good things are about to happen, right? So.
It's like I would use a cap gun, feed the puppies, start popping off a cap gun, just teach them nothing bad about this sound.
Yeah,
good things happen when you hear this sound. You get to eat.
Yeah,
you get to have fun, and I guess it's probably the same sort of routine.
I would think so.
So let's go back to that picture of that bird, the birds again. There's Willie, the goggle dog. And that's a bunch of birds right there.
Yeah, we did.
So that's three birds each, right?
Yeah, 3 each, and then the guide can get into that limit, and of course.
Is there a difference between the male and females? There's Willie bringing a bird.
There's a lesser and a greater. I believe that the males have the red on their head. I don't know. I think the hens may not have as pronounced a red, but there's not a different. Oh, in
your
terms
bag
of taking no.
three males, 3 females, doesn't matter.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it's juvies as well as and with these birds, there's there's like a greater sandhill and a lesser sandhill, so you've got size differences, and so it it'd be impossible to basically tell like a juvie greater from like a mature.
It's not
lesser.
like a duck where you can tell clearly.
Right.
Once you learn to identify them, what's going on. Okay.
Right. Just don't shoot a whooping crane if it's which should not be mixed in.
So I don't have. We were set up so I could see the screen, but I can't see the screen now. So we're just going down the road. I can see pictures, but that's it. I was hoping to take questions. Folks, bear with us. We don't sit here and slick this out. We're doing it live, and I love doing live stuff because it's exciting, just like life is. You never know what's going to happen. So anyway, let's eat.
Yeah, let's eat.
Tyler's back there. Tyler's wanting to eat. He's hungry.
So he's been smelling. Dad, you got a one of those plates. Maybe that white plate. I'll just cut off of that.
So anyway, you were out in the parking lot, right? So how'd you cook this?
Yeah.
While we're prepping this, how did you cook this?
So the nickname is the ribeye of the sky, right? And so like a steak, right? So it's it's got a little bit of in terms of there's obviously field dressed out, and then there's a little bit of a silver skin membrane, so you don't want to take that off to keep it from constricting whenever you cook it. But cast iron skillet, high heat, and a little bit of hard sear, and then just kind of if I've got access to an oven, it's going to be letting it sit there 350 for about 7 minutes after that sear or so, and get to about medium rare.
So did you use thermometer going to what, 145, 150 or what?
I used
eyeball
of having cooked some sandhill crane before, and I also did do a little bit of a preview, couple preview slices.
Sure.
And the ones which
Grill
were
masters
a little bit underdone initially got fed to my dog in my truck.
And the dog was happy to eat it.
The dog.
What kind of dog is it?
She is a full-blood German Shepherd dog.
Because I saw her. I didn't get a good look when I was out just real quick, but
yeah,
I knew it was Shepherd or Belgian Malinois, one or the other.
Yeah. She's kind of lean in the face, and then a little bit of a side thing here. This
Looks
is
like some artichoke or mushrooms and artichoke.
that is lion's mane mushroom.
Okay.
And some garlic
All
on
right.
there for you. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Come on, Tyler, get a piece.
Yeah, here you go. No, I've had this before.
That is fine right there.
Like that?
Absolutely fine.
Yeah,
Cut
man.
these 2 pieces.
I
up,
got
would you
the-
please. So, what are the spices on here? Slice those 2 up.
Yeah, so that's like I think it's just like a Chicago meat seasoning
Okay.
deal.
Just a store-bought meat seasoning.
Yeah, exactly. Just treat it just like
A
a
little
steak.
butter. A little butter and going down the road.
A little bit of butter, and the mushrooms have got like a little bit of a buttery steakhouse seasoning on them. What do you think? It's good.
Looks like there's going to be some sandhill crane hunting in my future. I fully see this happening.
It's so much fun.
So So what's the typical guide a day cost you?
So the setup that we had where we were it included lodging as well, which was kind of cool. So you're hanging out in the lodge, which is nice. A full kitchen, fireplace, kick back, hang out, tell some stories at the end of the day. With the guide, I think it was about $350 a day, something like that. Yeah.
Do you hunt all day? If you don't get your limit, do you just keep going, trying? Or is there flights in the morning and flights in the evening, and you pretty well can scout or whatever?
It's typically a morning hunt, and so the guides will say, yeah, you can try and hunt them in the evening whenever they're returning back to like that roost after they fed. But they're at that point in time, they're pretty interested just in getting back to roost.
Right.
So it's a lot more difficult to call them in.
So the fields you're hunting over in Oklahoma, I'm familiar with. Are they peanut fields or the grain fields, or what are they?
Both, actually. So peanut, wheat that's just been completely harvested out.
It sounds like a duplicate version of snow goose hunting. I mean, same sort of thing.
Yeah, it's the guide set up where if for whatever reason they can't find the birds or cranes, that's just not happening. He's got the goose decoys as well.
Mhm.
So it's layout blinds, hey, just switch out your decoys and now we're goose hunting.
So for hunting, you obviously you're not out of state, so you have to have an out of state license. You have to have a migratory bird HIPAA or the hip form filled out. Do you have to have a goose tag or a duck tag? Anything like that?
Yeah. So for the sandhill crane, it's, out of state, hunting. I think Texas does like a 5-day non-resident permit. And then you've obviously got your duck stamp. So got to have your migratory bird stamp, a couple others. And then there's a sandhill crane permit. There's no cost to it, but I think it's essentially, my understanding is just to, be able
document.
to document
how many people.
right, and then survey, randomly survey to get a sense of what the take has been.
Okay. He was supposed to keep talking so I could get a drink.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna get a drink and quit talking. This is a breast, right?
Yeah,
Is this a full breast?
it is.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the size of it. So
Let's see if
Oh.
we can get Rick to talk. Let's see if he comes through now.
all right.
Yeah. Get
Rick,
that up
are
on
you
the-
there? Can you ask Rick to speak up?
Rick, can you say anything? We're trying to see if you're up. Hello, Rick. Nope, not there. Nothing. That's good.
Thank you. Thank
mean,
you. I'm glad
that
you
is-
like it. I mean, it's, I think
I'm gonna eat the other one so Tyler doesn't,
you should.
because Tyler's a big old boy and he eats a lot of food, and I'm gonna get that one before he gets it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh yeah. It's
jerky?
so it's in those Ziploc bags back there. Go through those bags.
Feed me more of that.
Yeah. Get more of those lines. Have you ever had these before? These lines,
No.
Maine?
No.
Yeah. So
Pick them up at the store.
I harvested them from the store. Yeah, this was
Excellent.
not but yeah, they do grow in
Yeah,
Arkansas.
piece
I
of garlic.
think I can't remember what. I think it's an oak tree or something like that.
You know,
but-
it just scares me to go out and start picking mushrooms and stuff, because
yeah,
one mistake and it'll be the last mistake you make. You
Yeah.
gotta know what you're doing.
yeah. There's such a thing as a false morel, right?
Mhm.
And you cut it open and then you're supposed to be able. But yeah, I'm not.
But those are in the fall.
yeah,
Morel is now. I'll hunt morels.
yeah.
That's the only thing out there in the spring. But in the fall, just too scary. All right, let's try that jerky.
Yeah. Get in there.
So did you make the jerky?
I did. I made this earlier today, so just busted out my
And so-
relatively cheap dehydrator and got after. I'll join you in the jerky.
The
You
texture
guys get
is
some of that?
the
Yeah.
texture is just of the breast is
Yeah,
just
chicken,
like steak,
kinda.
a nice tender steak.
Yeah.
So just use a
This was
Mm.
the classic Dale's seasoning.
Mhm.
Can't go wrong with that stuff.
This has a teriyaki flavor, but there's a different flavor than in the cooked breast.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what it is,
Tell
but it's very good.
tell
Thank
Rick to check his
It's probably that Dale's seasoning. There's also
Yeah.
got some soy in it.
tell Rick to check his chat in Zoom.
Rick, check your chat in Zoom for a message from Director Paul. So Paul Fellini. This is good. So
I just think it's like
how much more do you have with you? Because if you want to leave, you're gonna have to give it all to us.
might have a little bit of a personal stash that I can
Oh.
tap into. I'm pretty judicious with my Sandhill crane jerky.
So how much more meat is on a sandhill crane? I mean, could
Mhm.
you do a full body? Is there enough leg meat to do a confit legs or do something with them?
We've always breasted them out,
Mm-hmm.
but they do have like the drumsticks on
Mhm.
them. So haven't done it yet. Maybe next year. I'll do like a whole bird. Just bring that back.
How big are their drums? They
Uh,
can't be real.
they're not big.
because
I mean,
the legs
right.
are long, but the muscle figures.
Yeah, you see how like thin those legs
Mhm.
are on some of those pictures of those birds, standing up. And I
Yeah.
think even the one where I've got the wings holding out like that,
Yeah.
you can see it's just not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot there, other than it's almost like an egg laying chicken.
Yeah,
There's not much there, except
Right.
maybe a little bit of breast, and there's not much else on them.
yeah.
Having tried to eat some leg layers that quit laying eggs, I decided that was just way too much work for maybe 10 ounces of meat. I'm like, nope, not doing that anymore.
I think it would take a little bit of a slow cook to do that. But although, it's like, I kind of think I'd like to get one of these next year and then stuff it, maybe brine it and then throw it on a rotisserie.
And just experiment.
Yeah, like the rotisserie, just kind of brush it every once in a while. And I think that could probably turn out pretty well.
So what are you, 12 gauges?
Yeah, 12 gauge. Yeah. BBs, number 2 shot.
Number 2 shot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's goose hunting.
Yeah.
It's goose hunting.
Modified, improved
And
cylinders.
same kind of range? 20, 30 yards? Let them get close?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Now, I've had a goose land on the foot of my layout blind. What would happen if a sandhill crane bombed you in a layout blind? It would be an interesting experience.
I would probably ask Willie the sandhill crane dog to come sort that out.
Yeah, because it looks like, because they're pretty big birds.
they're big and they're feisty.
Yeah.
Whenever they're
And I suspect when you knock them out of the air, they're probably mostly still alive when they hit the ground. Unless you get a good solid headshot, they're probably going to have a little spunk left in them that Willie the sandhill crane dog has to.
Some of them, some of it, if you wing them, then the dog.
Will they flog like a goose does, or do the wings? They just start flapping the wings on the dog.
A little bit. The dog would finish off some other times. We'd go out there. The guy to go out there and just finish them off as well.
Okay. All right. So, you guys have any questions in the audience?
Yeah. Hey man, we definitely have some more.
Tyler's ready for us to get off air. Tyler's the cameraman.
Did you get some of the mushrooms too?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
So anyway, do we have Rick or nope?
No.
Okay. All right. New technology, life goes on. Everything's a learning curve. Learn something every day, and that's a good life lesson. Whether it's eating sandhill crane or trying to figure out how to mesh together a whole lot of different programs and live broadcasting, and it's an adventure for us all. And that's why we do what we do, whether it's hunting or, trying to do this, we try and do things new and different every day and learn something. And, I just being adventurous is what it's about. So did you grow up hunting?
Not a little. We did a little bit of bird hunting, growing up. I've definitely, I've kind of come into it a little bit more. Okay. I lived out in Oklahoma for a while. Like I mentioned, I've got a friend who kind of got me into it. And so it's, anything outdoors, I'm in, and sometimes it's, hey, it's great to have the successful harvest, but sometimes it's also just a good, reason to get outside and kind of get away from being on your phone the whole time, right?
I can tell you that the last few weeks and this week and next week through the Christmas rush has been long days here, getting, thousands and thousands of orders a day out the back door. And I most assuredly am going to go spend some time in the woods. As soon as this Christmas holiday rush is over with, and it'll be a bow season. Arkansas may, get out with a crossbow and see what we can get. Got to one of my son's blinds, and he's been hunting a real big buck all season long. He got out one day, and a road hunter that night had shot and decapitated a deer fairly close to the blind, and we just knew it was the big boy, and we didn't see him on camera for 3 or 4 days. Man. And then there he was, and Jeff immediately texted me. He got a picture, and he was just so excited that big boy was still there. The road hunters, the poachers, didn't spotlight it, and so we figured out which one it was, and it was a nice deer, but it wasn't the big boy.
Yeah,
and so that's always good.
That's still terrible that
people do that and feel the need. A few years ago, I was probably 7 or 8 years ago, killed a deer at the farm, and it had a 22 caliber bullet hole pierced right through its ear, and somebody had taken a shot at it
with a 22.
With a 22, and I took a 22, and it was just perfect. It was it might have been a 223, but it's a tiny little hole, and that deer, lived through it obviously until it didn't live through it.
Yeah,
a few years later.
Even if it's a 22 250, they're taking headshots.
Yeah.
All right.
So, if you could,
You're gonna be on, okay?
is he coming on?
If his audio is working. Mr. Rick.
Can you hear me?
Rick?
Can you hear me?
He's talking.
I'm here.
We can see him.
I'm here.
There he is.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, Rick.
Ken, how you doing?
We're good.
Good.
So,
listen, you guys are over there eating Sandhill Crane, and I'm here not getting to eat any of it. How fair is that?
Well, it's this fair right here, Rick. It's this fair right here. I'm gonna cut it up and eat
There you
more
go.
of it.
Well,
Here you go. You want to do the honors?
Yeah, sure.
All right,
right,
my
so-
first train in Oklahoma too, and it is truly a good eating meat for sure.
All right. So you just got back from hunting in Indiana, right?
Well, I'm still in Indiana, actually, trying to put my tag on a deer. It's been pretty tough, to be honest with you. We're just everything's nocturnal right now.
Why is that? Phase of the moon, rut's over, and so you just got nocturnal?
No, it's because I'm here hunting them. That's why. No, honestly, maybe a little bit of warm weather. Rifle season just ended not too long ago, which puts a little pressure on those mature bucks, and they tend to go nocturnal when that happens. And so there's a lot of factors right now, but we're gonna get things figured out, and hopefully it'll turn around here pretty quick.
So, did you see any deer at all?
Yeah, we saw a few, but not too many. So I've got a few more days. We'll figure out a way to make it happen yet.
All right. So do you have John Dallas with you right now?
I do. I'm gonna just kind of slide the camera over. He's here.
Hey, good camera operation there. Hey, John, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name's John Dallas. I live here in Clark County, Indiana.
And he's one of our field staffers at Bresser and Alpen. And I've been hunting with John for quite a few years, and he's been actually filming me for about the last 5 years.
So, John, you run beagles, right? Are they deer dogs, beagle dog, or rabbit dogs? Or do they mix, or what's the story there?
Okay, they're rabbit dogs. I'm a member of the Silver Creek Beagle Club here in Clark County, and they have approximately 150, 160 acres to run your beagles on, and it's all fenced in. You can go over there, and if you're a member, and keep your dogs in tune, and it's there's a lot of milo and different grasses for the rabbits.
So, and when you're there, you're just running the rabbits. You're not hunting rabbits. Is that correct?
No, not hunting there. Not hunting there. They run a lot of brace trials and field trials there, but you can't shoot the rabbits. But I do. My dogs that I have now, the 4 dogs that I have, are little aggressive. They got harehound in them, and they're more or less a good rabbit hunting dog. And they hunt and track a lot faster than the black and tan dogs at the club.
So, how many dogs do you run?
I have 4 dogs.
And do you train them yourself, or do you have somebody do it?
I do, and every once in a while I'll have breed a couple of the dogs for pups and sell some.
How hard is it to train a dog? I've done duck dogs, labs, and some I suspect it's just like beagles. Some beagles or some labs just have it. They're just birdie.
Yeah.
Are there just some beagles that are just on the rabbit from the beginning? They just know it.
Yeah,
You just have to enhance their abilities.
Yeah, you're pretty much enhancing their abilities. It's their instinct a lot of times, but you need to get your beagles started. I like to start messing with them when they're real young. Even if it's just dragging a rabbit around or something with some skin on it, getting them going and introducing them to the fields and stuff, and let them follow you around and getting them out in the open.
So when you do hunting, do you try and be the sharpshooter and use a 22, or use a 20 gauge?
Well, no, I just use just a regular 20 gauge, and that's about it. I don't hunt them with a 22.
There was an old man over in town. He had grown up hunting. He tried to shoot him with a 22. He said if you couldn't hit him with a 22, they deserved to live. And I guess he did pretty good. He got a lot of rabbits over the years.
Yeah.
So how many members does your Beagle Club have?
Oh, there's quite a few members, a lot of good people at the club, and everybody there's sort of like family, and some's been around for a long time, and some's retired from it, but they all seem to come and help out and help keep the place up. We all do work detail and have a good time doing it.
So have you ever run deer dogs? Can you run deer dogs in Indiana?
Well, all 4 of my dogs were deer dogs when I first started running them at the club. And there is deer on the property, or not as many now, but I had to break my dogs from that. So
how do you do that?
Well, there's old-fashioned ways, but they'd probably get you for cruelty. But just use an e-collar, just a shock collar.
Right. So did you grow up running beagles?
I did. I've probably been hunting beagles since I was 10 or 12 years old. My brother and I always went hunting with my dad, and that was part of his passion, was beagle hunting.
That's awesome. Well, John, thanks for sharing your passion for beagles with us. It just shows that we're trying to encompass all aspects of hunting with this show, and beagles is one of those things that in many places becoming a lost art or a dying thing. When I grew up, there was a number of people I knew that ran beagles, and now there's 1 or 2 people I hear of that are running beagles. It's just sort of like raccoon hunting. It used to be you could take a blue tick out and jump out of a truck and just follow the blue tick anywhere. Now, if you tried that, I think you'd probably have the deputy sheriffs out looking for you, trying to find where you were. So, Rick, what's in your future here next week or so?
Well, I'm thinking about maybe running over to Kentucky and doing a little deer hunting. I'm going to try to finish up here in Indiana and possibly run over to Kentucky. Then I'm going to get home. We've got our second shotgun seasons going on, and then our late muzzleloader season. So I've got some hunting yet to do. So I'm not done yet. Waiting for some bad weather. I mean, it seems silly saying bad weather, but I want the cold weather. I want the snow. That's what makes that late season better. Hunting those food sources.
There's bluebird days and there's duck hunting days, and there's bluebird days and there's deer hunting days. And, I'd rather have it cold and dreary a little bit than just a beautiful sunny day. I was going to ask you something else. Do y'all hunt squirrels too to extend your season?
Yeah. I mean, there's squirrels all over the place. And I don't know if their squirrel season is on here still. And I'm not even sure if ours is still on. But yeah, it's a great sport. I used to, when I was a kid, I remember I didn't miss an opening weekend of squirrel season. I can't even tell you when the last time I went squirrel hunting, to be honest with you, back when my son was young enough to want to go. It's been quite a while since I've been out squirrel hunting.
Well, it sounds like it's time to break out the 22 or the 20 gauge and fix that and get back out in the squirrel woods a little bit. All right, so.
I got a question for Rick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we talked earlier in the week, Rick, about trail cams and how you guys are using them differently now compared to maybe a couple months ago. Can you talk to us about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, there's several ways to use trail cams. A lot of people like to get them out before season, see what they have, try to figure out what the travel routes are. But like, take Indiana here, for instance. I don't live close to Indiana. I live in Iowa. So I don't have the ability just to run over and do a little scouting here and there. And of course, John's a busy guy too. He doesn't have time to do it. So I rely on trail cams. And we've got, actually, one of the farms we're hunting, we've got 5 trail cams set up on the one farm. So we want to know, number one, what the quality of deer are, but we also want to know, kind of their movement. And having multiple trail cams allows us to get photos of the same deer. And once we put everything together, we can tell where they're coming from and where they're moving to and what time of the day they're on what part of the farm. And it just helps put the strategy together to be successful. And what we're finding out right now, to be honest with you, is most of our photos are coming in after dark. So it's telling us that deer are nocturnal. Now we have to wait them out and hopefully catch them coming out. Sooner or later they're going to break that. But right now they're pretty much nocturnal, and we know that based on the trail cams. Now, after deer season, most people take their trail cams and they put them away. I leave mine out. In fact, I'll put more out late season. I want to know what deer survived and made it through, but I also want to know where they're spending their time late season. Tells me a lot, because the hunting pressure obviously is over and they tend to go back to normal feeding practices. And it just makes me a better deer hunter and educates me a lot more, leaving my cameras out later in after season.
On our farm, we've had trail cameras out for pushing 20 years now, I guess. And we've had deer, good sized deer, that have grown up on the farm. We see them all the way through their life cycle, and we only see them on game camera. It's a couple 100 acres, and we've never seen them. All the time that my son and I spent in the woods, and we would never see these big bucks. And we'd finally know there was a big buck, there'd be a big buck, and then it would never show up again. We knew somebody got it somewhere. But we literally would never see these deer on the farm, and they were always nocturnal. Even spring and summer, we would not see those deer. And, when bucks like that get big because they're smart. And Rick, have you ever experienced something like that?
Well, absolutely. And, one other thing that I would mention is, those of you that like to find sheds and do a lot of shed hunting, if you've got one or two or maybe more target bucks that you really want to get the sheds, those trail cams will help you determine when they actually shed, so that you're not going in too early and bumping those deer and pushing them onto the neighbor's property. You want them to be on your property when they do shed. And of course, we know when they start to shed, but every individual buck sheds just a little bit differently. And I want to know that I've got photos of that deer with or without his antlers before I go in looking for him.
I was reading something 6 months ago about shed catchers. People put some wire around a salt block or around a food plot if they're able to put out food, corn, to try and catch their sheds, and actually causing damage to the pedicle, and causing permanent damage, because the horns are coming, the antlers are coming off before they're ripped off. And I'd actually been thinking about doing it because it's legal to do here. And after reading that, I thought, nah, not going to do that. I don't want to damage something that could turn into some big, beautiful buck, And then there's always does. We try to take does and manage the herd a little bit, but it's hard. We're the only people in the valley basically hunting anymore that we know of. A couple other people, but not like there was 10 years ago. Anyway, all right. So let's talk about the specials you've got coming up.
Sure. We're talking about trail cams. That was a very pointed question I asked Rick a minute ago, because we got a great trail cam special for people that are watching this cast this evening. We sell a lot of trail cams at Alpen and Bresser, and we often sell them, 5, 10, 12 at a time. And it's really the price points that we've got on cameras are designed to let people own multiple cameras at the right amount of money and have multiple cameras out all over the place. Anyway, we want to let you guys participate in that tonight. And we've got our Bresser trail cam that's on special tonight. It's an on the hunt special. We've got, it's a normal retail. If you go on the BresserUSA.com site, you'll see it for, I think it's $69 up there on the site. But as a podcast special, $20 on this item. So you'll go to, what are the mechanics of this thing? We go to the BresserUSA.com. You're going to look for a model number called GC-2MP-TS. That's the one. That's the one with the time and date stamp and everything.
You're doing $20 on a time stamp?
$20.
Don't tell the management, because they'll have your hide, brother.
The door's shut over there. We're all right.
Man,
$20.
let's
So-
hope they're not watching. I'm serious. $20 for that? Oh,
Yeah. So the special is through Sunday at midnight. So everybody watching, if you've got a need for some cams, especially if you got a need for multiple cams, it's a great way to put them out all over.
and the coupon code is what?
The coupon code is On the Hunt, all one word together. So you would go to checkout on the Bresser USA site, bresserusa.com. You would select that item, the GC-2MP-TS. Again, get the checkout, and you would see an opportunity to put a promotional code in, and that's when you do it. On the Hunt.
All
in one word.
lowercase?
I think you can put it in however you can put it in, and you still get a $20 camera, Ken.
That's a pretty good deal right there.
We think so.
That's a heck of a price on that timestamp. Now, hand me that camera real quick.
Sure.
These are simple, folks. These are not high-tech, phone in, got a program. There's a little bit of programming involved to get the timestamp going, but these simply open up like this and has a watertight seal, and out comes the battery pack, 8 AA's. We use rechargeable. It's got a little compartment right here for the micro SD card that you're going to have to buy for the game camera.
Actually, on this one, I think it comes with the SD card on the 2MP.
For $20.
$20. The TS, I mean, the 2TS.
$20
$20
with the card.
We're throwing it in there.
That's a deal right there, brother. I mean, that's on the money. You got an on-off switch. You got a time, programming that shows up on the little front screen. This thing is dead simple. You can't find anything cheaper. Let me see. Give me a shot. There we go, right there. So it's out of focus. Tyler's not a professional cameraman. We pulled him out of the back where he's good at lifting boxes.
Just here for the crane.
Actually, he's
crane meet.
He's here for the crane meet. He's actually a customer service guy. So as you can see, there's this row of buttons, micro SD card, and I think it can't be any larger than 32 gigabytes.
Right.
So you have to have if you want to buy extra cards, so you can go in the field, pull a card, put a card in, and going down the road, you can have up to 32 gigabytes. And to put it back in, you got to pay attention a little bit because you can get this in there backwards, but has a little arrow right here that goes up, and it just slides in, pops down. You pull the little silver tabs over, turn it on, close the door, make sure it's seated good, snap the latch. The front of it's going to come up, and you're going to be able to see when you place it. It's going to give you a flash and a little flashing red light and a countdown. After, I believe it's 30 seconds, it goes active. And if y'all are like me, you're going to get a lot of pictures of yourself down here going like this, going, is it working? Is it working? I've got a couple of really good portraits of my son and I. I guess they're game camera selfies, potentially, for lack of a better term, from doing that. So anyway, so go to alpen.com or bresserusa.com.
And go find that model number I talked about. Go to the checkout and enter the promo code, and you got a $20 camera opportunity.
So, show next week. We're starting to get people lined up. I'm not sure which pro staffer we're going to have with Rick, but I've got a guy who has a duck hunting ministry where he takes kids out duck hunting, and it's not an in-your-face sort of thing, but he gives them a Bible at the end of it and a little journal and stuff. And it is truly really cool. He's partnered with a farmer and who lets him hunt up a specific pond, and it's his dedicated to that ministry. And it's a very cool thing. I got some pictures I'm going to share. I think that Joe has some video as well that we might be able to get. So that's lined up for next Wednesday night. And Joe is a wonderful human being. When he bought his duck dog, I don't know how long ago, he wrote down in a journal every retrieve that dog made and every species of duck and who shot that duck. And he has those statistics on that first dog he had when he started this. And it's truly amazing the effort he's put in to get kids in the outdoors and get them, down a right path.
Nice.
So
nice.
That's who I've got lined up.
I've got somebody coming on, I think in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
we've got a buddy of Chris's actually, Sergeant Murphy, Marine Corps, ex-Marine. I think you're supposed to say retired. Former Marine. I'm sorry, former Marine.
I think once
Yeah,
a Marine, always a Marine.
I
Isn't it?
stand corrected. Anyway, so Ryan is going to come on. He's, I think, the first guy. We got a shipment of Alpen Apex scopes in, the first one about 7 weeks ago, and he's the first one that bought one of these from the company. And he's doing some distance target shooting with this thing, and I want him to talk about his experience with that. He's got a 4.5 to 27 by 50 Alpen Apex scope, and he's just starting to walk them out there. I talked to him the other night, and he's out to he's shooting in this quarry, I think, and he's out to 680 yards, and he's going this weekend to expand on that a little bit. So we'll get the Sergeant Murphy distance shooting update in about 2 weeks on the show.
So we could probably set him up over here prone and shoot out the door,
Yeah.
and put a target on the back of the Cracker Barrel. We could probably do that and see how accurate he can be.
Yeah, I don't think they'd mind.
I don't think, as long as he hits the steel target, they won't mind. Yeah. Although that might be a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe.
It might be a bad idea. Shooting a gun inside, no. Now, if we do it outside, it might not be such a bad
Okay.
idea. Anyway, so we're going to wrap this up. Rick, thanks for being with us again. John, we appreciate you talking about your beagles. We're going to
Having me.
pull the plug on this rodeo or circus, depending on how you want to look at it. And we've had a great time. I really enjoy this. I call this pilot 2, not necessarily episode 1.
I like it.
We'll start calling it episodes when we have the technical stuff down. But we had more than 1,000 people watch last week's as of yesterday, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for joining us on the Hunt with Alpen. Everybody have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the weekend.
You know, good optics are a must for a hunter. The new Alpen Teton. They're lighter, they're better in low light, excellent glass. You'll be hard pressed to find that glass for under $1,000. Everything that you would want in a pair of optics. I know what I'm looking for, and once I know what I'm looking for and find what it is, that's what I'm interested in buying. The bottom line is they're affordable, they're lighter, and they're great in low light. The new Alpen Tetons. Another deer coming out. You know, good optics are a must for a hunter, particularly binoculars. Not only during hunting season, but times like this when it's time to scouting. But there's one thing you need to do when you get your binoculars that a lot of people don't realize. You need to set them up for yourself. Everybody's eyes are a little bit different. And here's how I do it. It's simple and easy. Just take the binoculars and just kind of grab good focus on an object. And I go and put my hand over the left lens. The diopter, which is on the right side, I will go ahead and adjust that until that right eye is in focus. Once it is, I take the hand off the other side, both eyes in focus, and you're ready to go. It's simple and easy, and it's a must that you do this before you go out and use them.